I got the new A7S III. Just kidding. This is the A7 III. Shall I do it? Let's do it. Oh god, cancel my order. Change of mind. I'm just put a comment too long of a wait. Hey guys, I just cancelled the A7S III order. It was pre-ordered, and in this video I'm gonna talk about why I did, and it may be just for me. I'm not saying that you should do it or it's relevant for anyone else, but I just wanted to document my reason as to why I did it, and I don't think anybody cares, but just it's good to have document certain things in as we go along. So anyway, I think earlier this year when Sony announced the A7S III, I made a video about what the price expectation that I was thinking, and obviously that did not turn out to be true. But either way, right now this is why I canceled the A7S III. Number one, the wait time. So when Sony first announced the A7S III, like everybody else, I was super excited because this is one of the most anticipated camera, a feature packed camera that is most welcoming for many of the non-Sony users. So anybody who recently moved to Sony, they might find it difficult with the Sony's existing menu system. So when A7S III came out, that's the first camera to have the new touchscreen and rearranged menu. So that's a big deal. So if you come from other camera system to Sony, I think one of the first thing that is annoying is the Sony menu system. You will eventually get used to it, but when you first jump onto Sony, that's the most challenging or the high learning curve when you come to Sony. For me now, I'm using Sony cameras. As you can see here, I have the A7 III. I first started with the A6400 when it came out because till that point I was always a Canon fanboy. And when I first tried the A6400, I took it to a trip when I went to Sedona, and I really loved it because it's so small and compact, and just one camera and one lens, I was able to capture the entire trip, and that made me more familiar with the Sony system. And then on, even though I had Canon cameras, I started slowly drifting away from Canon to Sony. And over the years, I think Sony really improved on the color science, and it's not that of a big deal. And recently I also rented out the Canon R6 when it came out, and I thought maybe R6 is the way to go back to the Canon ecosystem because I have some old EF lenses, but I felt the color in Canon R6, it's too hot, and you still have to do some adjustments to the color to get it to the way that I like it personally. So if that's the case, then obviously I can work with Sony because if I have to do some minor color tweaks, then I'm able to do that with the Sony anyway. So I'm not a professional filmmaker or wedding videographer or anything related to professional video. All I do is to enjoy making videos for myself, and I share it with the friends and subscribers here on YouTube. And so I would say I'm a YouTube or online content maker. I barely take photos, but when I travel, I click photos, and I wanted those photos to be in good, high quality standards. So I was planning to go with the A7S III. I pre-ordered it, but the two main reasons that I canceled. One is when I pre-ordered it, I was still waiting until today, and then someone else close to Sony just told me that A7 IV is gonna come out or is gonna be announced in December. So when I heard that, I thought, maybe I should not jump ship to A7S III so quick, because if A7S III has all these new features that Sony is coming up with, like the new menu system, touchscreen, and the new color science with 422 10-bit, I'm 100% sure that that's all gonna go into the A7 IV as well. We don't know what else they're gonna remove. Obviously some of the video features like the 120 in 4K maybe they will strip that out, and that's okay. I can live with that if I get a hybrid camera. So as we all know, A7 III is the best camera. Those who have A7S, I think they will definitely have A7 III also, because A7S series has a low megapixel for photos. A7S series has a low megapixel because it's primarily for video only. But the problem is, occasionally when you have to take those high quality photos, then you have to carry another camera to take photos. So if you have an A7S series, and those are perfect camera for people who are in the professional video making as a B cam or a secondary camera. And in most cases, all the people who are doing professional work, they would have multiple cameras for sure. But people like me, you and me, where we are content creators primarily for home videos and making YouTube videos, so you just need one camera that can do both photo and video well, right? I'm not saying in an okay manner, but perfectly well. So if you're looking for a high quality video or high quality photo, and you just need one camera that you can use for both photo and video, then A7S series may not be the right choice, because A7S is purely on the video side and it can take okay photos. 12 megapixel, I'm not saying it's bad, but when you're taking photos that you want to print in a larger size, maybe in the future proofing outside online, if you want to take that photo to the next level, you are restricting yourself with 12 megapixels obviously. So you don't want to limit yourself with just one feature, or the camera that can only do one thing well. So in the A7S series, the thing that it does well is the video, but if you have to do the occasional photo, then you have to rely on something like A7R series or A7 series, because that has a higher megapixel for the photos, and it can also do the video in same quality as A7S III, except for low light situation. But if you're a content creator and home video maker, you're not going to be restricted with low light, because if you are outside traveling, you will have enough light in the morning. And if you're a content creator like me, you obviously are going to have good light at home, whether it's a professional light or any table light situation. So that's what my thinking is about. And once the A7 IV gets announced, and most probably it's going to be announced either in December or Jan of 2021, which is not too far. And at that time, if I have A7S III, then I'll be locked out, because A7S III is not a cheap camera. Once you invest on that, it's gonna be there for longer time, right? You have to have that for next 3 to 4 years. And I think if you are locking yourself with just one camera that can do photo and video, right now the best option is A7 III. But if what I'm hearing from the sources that I was talking to, they are pretty much close to Sony. They do some professional work with the Sony when new camera and gear comes out. So they're telling me that if you wait 2 months, you will get the answer. So that answer is A7 IV. Okay, let's talk about some of the features that A7S III has, and that's most probably gonna flow into any of the future Sony cameras that is high-end. So number one is the flip out screen. I think going forward, all Sony cameras is gonna have that flip out screen, most probably at least until the A7 and A7R series for sure. So when the A7R4 get announced, I'm sure that it will have both flip out screen, the new menu system, and the touch capabilities. And those are the things that personally I'm looking forward to, because right now when I use the Sony A7 III series, I just have to use that mirror thing on top of it so I can see what I'm shooting, sometimes to make sure my composition is right, because I'm shooting all by myself. So that's something that I'm really looking forward to have. And what I'm seeing with A7S III, I'm sure those are going to be featured in the A7 IV for sure. What I'm not sure is whether the A7 IV will have 120 frames per second at 4K for the slow motion, right? But I'm sure A7 IV is gonna have 60 frames per second in 4K, and for me that's good enough because looking at back all my work on YouTube or all the videos that I have taken so far, I have not used 120 frames per second that many videos. Out of the 100 videos, I might have used it for maybe 4 or 5, so I'm not worried about that. So that will take care of my requirement of having a flip out screen and a touch screen menu and a touch screen for focusing, right? Apart from that, I think color, it's optional, it's good to have. 422 files, I'm a little worried that it's gonna slow down my workflow. Obviously I don't have great colors, it's just me in my studio, and even with 8-bit 420 I can still work with it. And I'm sure Sony A7 IV is gonna have 422, but that's just optional for me. If it has 422, then it's good. If it doesn't have, that's also fine with me. Next, third item is low light, which is not a use case for me because as you can see, my content on the YouTube channel here is either some talking head like this or working on motorcycle. If I'm working on the motorcycle, most probably I'm doing it during the daylight outside so it's bright enough, or if you're doing in the garage, I definitely need more light to do maintenance. So low light is not an issue because I'll always have proper lighting when I'm doing the video. So A7S III's low light capability versus A7 IV's less low light capability doesn't fit into my use case. So that's another reason that I'm leaning forward to A7 IV, and then that made that decision to cancel the A7S III.